Welcome back to Leadership Moments with Apostle Martin Wilson. I'm your host and facilitator, Billy Ryan. I believe that we are really in for a treat today and each and every time Apostle Wilson comes to the mic and takes your questions and shares his wisdom. Who is Apostle Wilson? What qualifies him to come to this platform, you ask? Apostle is an author, speaker, and he holds a master's degree in theology. Outside of religious accomplishments, Apostle has earned the distinguished honor of being a certified master practitioner in the areas of life and relationship coaching, law of attraction, neuro-linguistic programming, and Reiki. On top of all that, Apostle Wilson brings with him 30 years of pastoral ministry and counseling. He is the current senior pastor and establishmentarian of Exalted Word Ministries in Charlotte, North Carolina. Apostle Wilson, I hope you are excited as I am. Welcome, sir.
Oh, I'm always excited. Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
Our question today comes from a gentleman named Timothy, a business owner of a software firm out of Greensboro, North Carolina. It reads, Apostle Wilson, I know that you have a background in counseling and coaching. So I want to ask you about a subject that is close to my heart and I know you probably have to deal with a lot. Talk to us about early childhood trauma and give me some keys that I can use to successfully navigate that part of my life.
Childhood trauma. Early childhood trauma is what we call in sociology as a high grade trigger. In other words, it's one that releases a lot of emotion. And just for sake of definition, a trauma is in any event that leaves the individual feeling distressed or disturbed by the event that happened. I'm currently studying some material out of a book called The Law of Human Nature by Robert Greene. And Robert Greene tells us that he believes that much of our adult life is being influenced by the events of our childhood. So when you stop to think about it, our most sensitive and vulnerable time as a human being is when we're children. When we're children, we're dealing with things that sometimes we can't even label. We don't know how. So in the book, The Law of Human Nature, I pull some great tips out of there that I think will help us. Because when you stop to think about it, a child is so open to the influence of their parents and anyone that has a dominant role in their life, and when those things turn into what they interpret or is a trauma, it can leave wounds. All those things, they remain buried deep inside of us. They're there. It's like a permanent, almost a mental tattoo, if you will. And at the moment that someone or something triggers them, if we haven't dealt with them appropriately, then we're going to have a very powerful response. Now, if you, Timothy, as a child, you experienced or interpreted an event as being a form of abandonment, rejection, abuse, anything like that, anytime that you as an adult in your adult life and you're dealing with other people and that person makes a statement, does something that you now can mentally associate with the childhood event, that childhood trauma that you dealt with, you're probably going to overreact. And I'm sure that if you're asking this question, you've already dealt with it. You overreact, you withdraw, you create a confirmation and appearance bias. And what a confirmation and appearance bias is, it occurs when you want to believe certain things about certain people, and you knowingly or unknowingly, you're seeking out evidence to confirm what you believe to be true. But in reality, and that's the thing that we've got to really get to when you're talking about trauma. In reality, all you're really doing is experiencing a reflection of your own mind, a reflection of your own emotions. It's not reality. And that in and of itself is the height of irrationality. And the only way to get past these feelings is that you've got to make two conscious choices. And I want to talk directly to you, Timothy. You've got to make two conscious choices. Number one, you've got to be honest with yourself about yourself. You may need to ask someone that you trust to help you to identify the insecurities and the triggers in your life, because I'm sure if you've got a friend that's been close to you, they've experienced you during those times that you may have been triggered. Number two, you got to be willing to look for sudden, childish, intensely out of character behaviors within yourself. Any behavior that you would see another person do and call it childish, you've got to be willing to see it in yourself. And let me throw one more in. Let me give you a number 3 on that. You've got to be willing to put in the work to make the needed changes so you can change that behavior. That may look like getting an accountability partner, someone that holds you accountable for your behavior. The triggers could be emotions such as fear, loneliness, feeling out of control, feeling like you failed. But the main key, this is the main thing that I want you to remember, is when this happens, you've got to remember to take a step back. That's got to be the first thing you do. Take a step back, carefully consider, is what's happening real, or is this a reflection of some of the pain that I have inside from a past event? And before you react, before you allow it to influence you, and for yourself to be influenced by those negative emotions, you've got to make sure that you've put some things in place that you can do. And sometimes it's just getting quiet and waiting for those emotions to die down.
Wow. Apostle, that is really good insight. Mr. Timothy, I hope that you will take those nuggets and apply them to your life, and please feel free to reach back out to us in the future and let us know your progress. Apostle Wilson, thank you again, sir. You have been watching and listening to Leadership Moments with Apostle Martin Wilson. If you have leadership questions that you would like for Apostle to give insight on, please text your questions to 980-389-4114. That's 980-389-4114. Until next time, God bless you. This has been an Exalted Word Ministries production.
Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, and our new dedicated Roku channel.
Sponsored by Billy Ryan Life and Executive Coaching, and the Ecclesia Ecumenical Leadership and Church Growth Development Network. Executive Producer, Billy Ryan.